John and Don have been my good friends for almost 40 years now. This chapter started in 2016 when I picked up an old Express 30 that had been languishing in a farmyard for over 14 years in Grand Bend. I've gradually, over the last few years, restored her to sailing order. But last year, I fell in love with and bought an Express 35. 1135 had to go. Long story short, Don bought 1130. We launched her in June and then started planning. We figured this trip down the lake was around 220 nautical miles from Lasalle, the Detroit River, to Port Colborne at the eastern end of Lake Erie. We considered different options of breaking up the trip, but ended up with breaking it down into two legs. The first leg, from Lasalle to Pelee Island, would be around 35 miles and provide us an opportunity to kind of test out the boat, the systems, and the crew. The second leg would be Pelee Island direct to Port Colborne, and this would be a full 2.5 days down the middle of the lake. Like it was going to be a tricky trip weather-wise. The weather systems had been blocked and they were stationary and included fronts that were stuck over southern Ontario for most of the week that we planned to sail. But there didn't appear to be many frontal passages that would maybe create squall lines and some nasty weather out in the lake. It looked like the thunderstorms would be isolated and forming up in the unstable air masses over land. We hoped that they would not form over the cooler lake. The other thing that looked really good for our proposed weather window were the winds were going to be out of the south and southwest for the 3 days that we planned to sail. Well, at 6 o'clock on Monday morning, we're pretty much ready to blast off. Ready to leave the Lasalle Mariners Yacht Club and head down the Detroit River. Our first stop is supposed to be Pelee Island. Last night we slept on the boat. Shouldn't have been, but we were surprised by the mosquitoes that came out so fast, so we sort of did some impromptu work to we used this little mosquito vest over top of the front hood, and it seemed to work pretty good. But we still did feed a lot of mosquitoes last night. We got some extra fuel. Fuel's all topped up. Food, we've got to figure out where to put the coolers and everything inside. Basically, we're ready to go. New captain.
This is the first mate speaking. Yep, we're going south.
Headed in the right direction, right weather.
We're headed in the right direction.
John, you're doing good?
Absolutely. First rate, tip-top shit, hot, second, and on, sir! It's a quick release, eh? Just pull. Let me know and I'll let go of the front one.
Yep.
Leave it because we'll need it for tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, you can skipper, you can time how many hours at the helm you've had.
Huh. Neat.
It says 8 hours, but you haven't been at the helm for 8 hours. My profile, demo profiles. That's kind of neat, eh?
Unless we go all the way through, and then we'd probably have to turn the engine on occasionally, just to
Nice to see.
run the engine a bit, just to charge up.
Do you have a reading on the batteries as to how low they are? Or?
Not really, I got voltage, so that I guess indirectly. Take a little walk around the boat. of fun to watch the autopilot do its thing.
We still got 3/4 of a tank?
Yeah, we've still got 3/4 of a tank. I think we'll probably have 3/4 of a tank tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just tying up in Scudder, Pelee Island.
Yeehaw!
The sweaty crew.
Oh yeah, we got.
We really enjoyed our stopover in Pelee Island. Gave us a chance to talk about how the trip went so far on the first day, and it gave us another chance to plan for the next leg. We also found a nice little beach right next door to the marina that we got a nice little swim in. And I think we did buy the last 2 bags of ice available on the island.
Light winds. But I think on average, over the next 2 days, we're going to see some decent winds.
Yeah, and it's kind of behind us.
Yeah, always behind us.
Yeah, beam reach, or it's cleared up. It'd be nice if it stayed this clear, too.
Yeah.
And this has kind of gotten rid of some of the humidity.
It's not as bad as last night.
No.
Last night was close.
That's like the lake is so big and everything. You see these things and you think it must be not that hard to put a windmill out in the middle of the lake.
You know, but I kind of say the oil platform, if I didn't see on the map, was the market there.
Well, I've seen these, you know, you talk about tiny houses and there's things that places where people look at that perfect set of sails, just drawing the wind the way it's supposed to.
South wind, 5.1 knots, clear skies.
Not a care in the world, nothing to do but trim the sails a little here, a little there, watch the speedometer.
Mid-afternoon snack would be snagging us.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're getting 5.2 knots.
Pay somebody with a 30-06 to come out here and just, you know, do target practice.
Yeah, probably a lot of poop out there.
Like, you'd have to pressure wash that for a week to get all that poop off to land a helicopter up there.
It's a good reaching chute. It's very narrow at the top.
That's the first time I've seen it out of the bag.
What are the 2 red lines halfway up? Is that just to help look at the luff? And the...
Probably, yeah, just to see the curl.
Yeah. Yeah, white's kind of hard, depending on the sun.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been wider. Maybe that's the reaching chute. Get up and the wind pushes you back over. The boat's full of water. So if you go over, it is hard to get back up.
So Tuesday afternoon, the chatter on board stopped. We were listening to the weather warnings on the VHF, and the South Shore was really being hammered from Cleveland through to Ashtabula. There were wind warnings of gusts up to 60 knots and heavy hail all along the South Shore. Wind picked up for us, and the sails really overpowered the prevailing wind and moved around to the northwest. So we shortened sail, we furled the Genoa, reefed the main, and we did end up scooting by the squall at 5.5 knots under reef main only, and really we avoided the weather by staying in the middle of the lake. So through the night we decided to motor only. We didn't want to get caught by a squall in the dark, and we had 2 on watch at all times. They were in their safety harnesses in the cockpit, and we rotated through the night with each of us getting a couple of hours of sleep.
Can't lose track of the days. Wednesday morning, 10 to 6. Got the moon up here. We've got the sun coming up there.
Dead bugs and dew all over the decks. 4.6 knots there.
Let's see how far we got.
Up on Long Point. 13 miles to Long Point, and we turn towards Port Colborne. What's our speed right now?
6.6.
6.
0.57. Speed up and slow down is
Because there's many maps there.
Yeah, the table of contents there.
I'm looking for the table of contents. I can't find it. Well, I guess it's section 3. It's actually
So we're coming in and then around.
yeah. So we're gonna clear this. We don't want to be in there. We're gonna clear this. We're gonna go down this channel. So green right. But then we're gonna bear off. That says green. So that's red left. But
Yeah.
then we're gonna go green left.
Yeah.
So we're gonna follow that curve
Yeah.
and head for that breakwater and the grain towers. They're huge, right?
Yeah.
Huge grain towers. And then come down there. And then this is old. This isn't the right. This
Yeah.
isn't the right picture.
We arrived in Port Colborne around 3:30 Wednesday afternoon. The only rain we saw during the whole trip was for the last hour or two as we approached Port Colborne. All told, over the 3 days, we spent about 40 hours en route and averaged close to 5.5 knots. It was a wonderful trip, and we are already talking about what we're going to try next year.